First things first, I've got a question for you, David.
Okay.
It's very dramatic, and it's how much do you love Taco Bell?
How much do I love Taco Bell?
Yeah.
Fun fact, I actually hate Taco Bell, and that is a lie.
That's not true. That's not true.
It's a lie
It's not
spread
true.
by Paul
It's
Chu.
not true. It's not true. He loves Taco Bell.
No.
He loves it. I would say David and I build off of each other really well. There's not a, contrast is a hard thing to say because very rarely do we disagree on something that we don't want to put into it. A lot of the times, while we're writing a song, I'll stop and I'll be like, that's too much. Let's take it, we'll turn it down a little bit and then we'll turn it up later in the song and bring it back. Or he'll tell me hey, you should do a different vocal part differently. And so there's not a lot of disagreement because all the time I know his opinion is right.
Mm-hmm. We got a lot of mutual respect, and if I tell him something, he's not going to get offended. He tells me something,
We can take criticism from each other, at least I think.
Speaking of kind of complimenting, contrasting, this show on September 2nd at Mohawk is going to be y'all's first show.
That was a beauty.
I'm sorry.
That was yummy.
Yeah, you just brought it out of me when you said September 2nd show. I said, oh my God, there's something welling up inside me.
This is the first time y'all have ever played with Eli Joseph.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's definitely some contrast there, but definitely some compliment. And I think y'all have two different crowds but y'all have same sensibilities though. How do y'all think that's gonna go, and what do you think it'll add to the actual show versus playing with maybe random bands you've never known before?
Before I met David, I had actually met Eli. We met at my friend's house a long time ago at a backyard show, and we just bonded immediately. And I would go over every day during the summer to San Marcos. I'd drive all the way to San Marcos. We'd go up there and we would go float down the river, and we would go back and then we'd make some music. And Eli and I just really connected over that. So I think the energy element and the performance of when you come to a show to have a good time and you really want to dance and you want to just I don't know, experience that moment and run around and be crazy. That's what you're gonna get a lot of. Eli is one of the greatest performers I know. He's so fun to watch. He's also the tallest man I think I've ever seen in my entire life.
They were playing a show at Far Out Lounge once, and they were doing this thing where they were trading guitars, and it was this little bit, and then they called me on stage to play one of the guitars. I was like,
oh, nice.
That's crazy, but it's so nice.
Was that a plant? You knew?
No, I didn't
happen?
know. They just randomly called me on stage to play guitar.
They're fun. They're pretty spontaneous.
Crazy. In the song, he's doing something bold because it's what he wants to do. It's kind of what he has to do. I wonder if that maybe some of y'all, how y'all look at your music.
Well, I don't have a job. I'm pretty broke right now, I could identify with GERONIMO a little bit.
But it was definitely, it came from a very personal place. For me personally, the lyrics came from a very personal place. We worked on them for a while, where it's it's a very exaggerated self form, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's a version of yourself that's a lot different than what you would ever get from any normal version of yourself. And obviously there's some different things. David and I are not thieves. We wouldn't steal a car. But I mean it did feel like we wanted to do that at some point. We just felt kind of very stuck in a rut, and at the points of being stuck in that rut, there are different times where you get really caught in your head, and the song kind of reflects that, where it's very action packed and things are happening around you, but at the same time in your head it feels like nothing's happening and you're not really moving forward.
So right now there's a 50% chance of rain on the night of the show.
Really?
What would you say to people who are going to let that stop them from coming to this show?
Oh yeah, wait, Harrison, will you come over here and say that really fast?
The show's going to be indoors, so don't worry about it.
You come to this show, huh? What you going to do, huh? You better come to this show, huh? David and I don't want to eat any more bread crust.
We're poor.
Buy a ticket, please.
Please.
I'm begging you.
You got this, I'ma go. Push the pedal down right to the floor. This is getting close. Put it in gear, no armor goes. And there's no reason to play. Inside me I can feel something running away. And I just wanted some change. But deep inside, I'm just too afraid.
What the fuck, Paul? Wait, let me lift your legs.
Now do a push-up. I was at Freebirds across the street, and that burrito was $12.
It's crazy.
That's terrible.
It only lasted me 3 hours, and I was hungry again. Okay, you wouldn't spend the same amount of money on the night of your life.
You know what's better than all of those burritos? A show with Rococo Disco.
Yeah.
And Eli Joseph. And Vision Arcade.
Vision Arcade. They're crazy.
I'm just reeling all my feelings. Can't forget the things I've said. No more dreaming, only stealing. Never get